don't know. I'm black and white.
What is up, team? Welcome back to the Huddle, the number one podcast in flooring. We're here every week to help you gain forward progress in your career. Simply put, me and the boys are here to help you win. To all our new viewers, welcome to the team. What's
Going
up,
on, brother?
fellas? That got started pretty funny right
I
out of the
have no
gate.
idea.
What are you all black and white for?
Oh no,
I'm
not
old
baby
school.
Michael.
Is it your camera?
It just turned. So I opened up the settings to see what is going on, and I have no idea. Like, there's not even anything that
It's a new
says
filter.
to turn black and white.
Well, to all our viewers here on the Huddle, we got
There we
1930s
go.
Daniel. Oh, he's back to the 2026.
Meh, see, meh.
Ma,
I
ma,
don't know.
say.
I don't know what happened there. See,
Oh, that's hilarious. All
Yeah,
right,
we're
well,
back.
and we're back. What's up, Jorge?
first comment. That's what you should put
All
on
right,
there.
first comment, Fred. Um, yeah, so today's topic is we've done this topic before, and it's always fun to kind of chat about, but it's also where a lot of nuggets lie, I think, and that is what can the flooring industry, or more applicably, what can we as individuals in the flooring industry learn from other trades and
Bam.
go back up to the industry level? What can our industry, the leaders, the organizations that guide policy and things in and the way our industry is, what can they learn from other trades? So that is today's topic. Want to give a quick shout out to Trade Tap and the VTI all live. Go get your profile started. We've added um, thousands of new quality
Thousands.
flooring loving profiles to the network here recently, and got a great opportunity to expand into another market outside the U.S. that I'll talk about at a later date. But it's pretty cool to watch how other people get excited about installers coming together in a community and what can happen when that happens. And that's what we're asking you to do with the VTI. If you're not a member or you don't have a live profile on there, let's get it going, guys.
Just waiting for.
Also, we talk about getting involved in the industry all the time. One simple, really easy way is what's on your screen right now. Go get your profile, get it started, and then we're going to be keeping an eye out on all of our social media channels for TradeTap. That's where we're sharing all the new developments and ways that you can leverage your VTI to make yourself better opportunities as well as win more work. Um, thank you. We got these guys in our private chat. I tell you what, Jose, sometimes he just knocks me right off the guardrails here. But
Sorry.
get yourself a VTI. But another way, and a simple way, is to go check out Pro Installer Magazine. Those guys over there, they really put a lot of effort into making the magazine um, resonate with installers. Also, if you have any topics or things that you'd like us to write about in Pro Installer, let us know, and we'll get with those guys and see about getting an article written addressing whatever concerns or opportunities you see in the flooring industry.
Right? Unless you're one of the pros and want to talk about it, I'm sure they want to have you write the article too.
Yeah, hey man, we can get you in touch with the right people to write an article yourself, and that is generally a pretty good experience and an awesome opportunity. So yeah, go check out Pro Installer. It's a good magazine. It used to be at all the distributors. Now I'm not sure if they still do print or if
They
it's
still
all
do for
only
us.
digital, but get your digital copy. I always see it at distributors, warehouses, and such. So one way or another, get yourself over to Pro Installer and check that out. All right. Just getting a few housekeeping items here done,
Yep.
and I think we're there.
I think we got some people on now too.
All right. Well, welcome, everybody. Let's see, catch up on some comments, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to share with us. You are welcome, Romero.
Romero.
I said
Oh,
Romeo. I think you're probably a Romeo too, but yeah, Jorge, he was stuck in the 50s. Denise, great magazine. I agree.
then Nick, not many people doing a podcast for flooring, and I think there's actually more and more popping up. So, I mean, it's definitely something that's been needed, right? That's why we've been doing this for the past, what, 4 years now? Something like
About
that.
4 years.
No way.
Thanks for
So
joining us, Nick. We
yeah,
appreciate it. We are
we're
located in two different areas, one in Kansas, one in Michigan. The boys are up in Michigan. This boy is down in Kansas, Wichita specifically, Grand Rapids specifically for those gentlemen. All right. Well, guys,
Well,
what
they,
can the
let's
flooring industry from an individual level? I'm just going to kind of take us up and down. So down on the like us level, the installer. And for anybody new in the audience, just to let you know, all three of us installed for many years. Sometimes we still do. We all lead a flooring company. Mine's in Kansas, theirs in Grand Rapids, and I think they have a better balance of commercial residential up there. We are about 95% commercial down here with a little bit of residential when we work with our designers and such.
when you can't get away from it.
Well, yeah, that's right. When you can't avoid it. Um, I've been in flooring since '99 as a owner, and '95 as I started as a helper in '95. So been doing this my entire adult life. Love the industry. Don't always love all the things the industry does, but I do love what we bring to the table in construction and what that means when it's done right. What it means, and then what it's like to, you know, I also enjoy I talked about this in the last podcast, I think, but I love standing back and seeing the work after it's done. And now I take pride, that same feeling kind of comes out, that I say pride, that proud feeling of my guys when I get to look at their work when it's completed. And so, yeah, it's pretty awesome. Thanks, Roland. I'm catching up with you, buddy.
yeah. And it really brings it into perspective when you say my entire adult life, because guess what? Me too. Dang.
Yeah.
And way longer than that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you started as an adolescent.
Yeah, back before I could even think about having facial hair.
Back before they told you contact adhesive was bad to sniff.
No, I'm pretty
You
sure
mean
you
getting
guys have
under
always known that. You just didn't
getting
tell
up,
me.
getting under broadloom up a set of stairs that's been contact cemented already is not good.
Yeah.
For some reason, it makes me hungry.
Tired and hungry. Well, to address the topic, Jose, kick us off. What's your thoughts on an individual level? What is the, flooring installer or an electrician?
Well, first off, this is, let's just go back to when I was an installer and then what I could see, right? I could see that everyone around me was uniformed, right? Everyone around me is uniformed. They had a structure. There was an obvious hierarchy on how they started, and it didn't click until obviously later on what that was, and that was called structure. Everyone had some type of structure and guidelines to follow that gave them a title that gave them their daily tasks. And I think looking back, that was well, we missed that. I missed that when I first started. Didn't really know. Just kind of whoever was the best that day was doing that type of work. And realistically and honestly, we didn't really have that type of structure when we started preferred flooring, right? So moving into and that was many years into it, and I think that we're still missing that. I see a lot of people are still missing that. And even if some type of structure is provided, the understanding of the hierarchy and the structure is missing. And maybe it's installers, flooring installers are kind of freelance, even whether they're subcontractors or employees. It's kind of uh, was it dog eat dog world, man versus
Well,
man, woman versus woman. Kind of I'm better than you at this, so I should be in charge today. And it's like we're missing that structure from day one, is what it is.
um, I think that is certainly true, especially when you maybe put the whole project into play. So we're missing structure and getting the time and space and things like that that's needed to do our jobs too. I mean, it's a different type of structure. I get what you're saying. Do you think that it's missing structure or just missing culture? And one thing to point out in flooring is there's really 4 to 5 distinct different floorings, right? And you can be an expert in one and
Yeah,
absolutely not even know what to do with the other. You could be so there's a little bit of that struggle in ours where electrician, except for if you have like industrial versus commercial.
versus residential. Yeah,
But
uh,
even commercial and
yeah,
residential, commercial guy can go wire a house no problem. And
yeah.
it's more like, you know, standard. Whereas you could, so I'm defending us a little bit here because
Oh, that's fine. Yeah,
have a
let's
little
do
bit
it.
of different structure, like who's in charge. Because, dude, if you're doing a sheet vinyl job and you got a great sheet vinyl guy, but he's not the senior person, um, then the like you got to have your sheet vinyl guy in charge of that job, especially if he's
Hmm.
awesome. And so it's kind of tough when you have carpet, really two multiple different carpets. I know guys that do carpet tile, but
That
who
won't touch
doesn't?
broadloom.
But won't
Yeah.
touch broadloom. Guys that touch broadloom but won't touch anything woven. You start to say jute or anything, they
Or
start
natural fiber,
running.
anything.
Natural, and they've already left your building, if they know what it even means. So there's so many distinct skill sets within flooring that makes it tough. But
So let me add to that. Because of the lack of structure, there is unless you have someone who says, "Hey, you're starting learning this," then you're right. We have too many different products, too many things to learn about in the commercial industry, and that's probably why it's scattered. You kind of get thrown to the wolves. We got to have this job done. We have deadlines, and you're absolutely right. There is no. We should learn uh, this one first, and then as we learn this and get better, then we'll graduate and go. There's no structure as far as where to start in the industry um, as a brand new installer, laborer, helper,
Yeah, there
and
is.
it's different
well,
for
Demo.
there is.
commercial. Well, there
Demo.
is, yeah, there is now. But I'm saying when I started, there was nothing in place for that, and and you could take a commercial guy who's been 2 years in and then go right into residential, and you're starting brand new again, right? Like
Brand new.
you don't know where you're at, right? You know basics of I got to get the floor done, and this is carpet, fuzzy side up,
And I
but
gotta
you
seal. You may understand you gotta seal the seam, right?
yeah,
But the processes
maybe
of putting those two together, putting the
yeah,
seam together, cutting the seam, all that stuff. It's like two separate, almost like two totally different skill sets.
yeah,
I do think there's a little bit of, if with some new structure that has come out in the industry, there are some ways to like take it. I accidentally kind of took a decent path. I think I learned broadloom, you know, and then I ended up learning how to do VCT, and that's back in the day. That dates me. That's when VCT ruled the world, long before LVT was around. I mean, it was around, but just very sparingly. Um, and then I moved into sheet vinyl, and I thought that was a pretty good progression because I could do carpet tile because just another modular product when it really started gaining steam. I mean, I did carpet tile back in the 90s when with Milliken and I think Interface, Collins and Aikman, a few of the brands that
Hmm.
actually had carpet tile back then. But going from broadloom carpet to VCT and I'd say quartz, modular, Fritz tile, all that resilient modular, and then moving into resilient sheet. That gave me a good understanding on how to do almost all the flooring. The only thing I never really got into is ceramic tile. I certainly understand how it's done, but I couldn't do it very well. Um, so having some type of progression or some type of like, hey, that would be nifty if the industry would say, you know what? If you're new to flooring, start with carpet, broadloom carpet, then go to, you know, modular resilient. And it kind of is that way, but I know plenty of guys that will do like carpet tile and LVP. They don't want broadloom. They don't want
Man,
anything to do with any like quartz, anything harder than LVT to install or LVP. They don't want to touch. And so I think we have these skill gaps throughout all these throughout installers that really shit for us, it's really important that we know what each one of our crews are capable of. But that progression is not an industry driven thing. That's more individual, isn't it?
it is, it is, and yeah, that's what I was alluding to is the order of importance, and there just it just wasn't there. My first day, I was a demo guy. It's like, yeah, rip this up, and you just tear it up. Like, no, you have to be careful. You can't peel the drywall. You can't do this. So you got to be careful. And then tear those steps up, and it should be really easy. And then it was unitary, contacted on,
Eeh.
and I hated my life. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here? But you go into that, and I did start with broadloom and a mix of broadloom and carpet tile, then resilient sheet vinyl, right? And then Forbo or linoleum, right? And then back to broadloom, but more pattern, and then it was back and forth, and it was just so,
Well,
you
you
know,
guys still, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you guys
yeah,
still kind of do have that approach because I know you guys went to a natural fiber
hmm
training, maybe even a certification within a year here. And you're kind of known for being awesome sheet vinyl guys, but you're over here doing natural fiber stuff, which is super cool. But you guys still kind of have that approach of like, we should know what's going on out here. And
It's because if
yeah,
we don't know and we're the ones that are selling it and we just have someone just going to do it, like if I don't know what's wrong and what's right, then they can just go in there and butcher it up and we'd have no idea.
hmm,
And that's why we did it, right? And it's not that I wouldn't touch it or anything. It's just I want to know what I'm touching.
yeah. So
And
would you, what the one thing, and I only really wrote down one thing, but the one thing that I kind of harkened it back to is across the industry, you certainly have pockets of pride, not in the bad sense of the word pride, but like accomplishment, that good feeling of accomplishment uh, in installation, flooring installation, but it's the best guys of the best guys that have that. You know what I mean? Like it's not across every installer to have that pride of. of their work and pride of who they are. They're a floor layer or a floor technician, however you want to say it. But you see electricians out with freaking you know, local 570 with a lightning bolt in the fist. You know, there just seems to be a little bit more pride around, you know, some of the licensed trades. Really, like,
Right. And so you just brought up a good point, and that's where like the structure and the progression is. It doesn't. The other trades have that. They have the standardized. You have to go learn. It doesn't matter union or not, right? You're starting here. You're pushing a broom. You're the gopher. Go for this. Go for that. You're the laborer. You're going to play cleanup, and they start gauging you as an employee on where you would succeed more. And if you start absorbing and picking it up and applying, uh, then those are the guys who progress. There's a couple dozen guys that we worked with years ago before preferred flooring that are in leadership roles now, right? And they are running the entire projects, or they are overseeing the bidding process, right? They're the ones sending us the conceptual bid invites now, and it's just like that's pretty awesome to watch their progression from pushing a broom to being in charge, making the calls, to now being behind the scenes and helping those individuals move up the ladder. And I seen Jimmy's little post, a little thing there about
His
the
comment.
hoser burning steam. 100%, dude. I did, and here's what he's referring to, so everyone knows. We were taking a certification class together, and I thought I could do like 5 things at one time: talk on the phone, scheduled things, talk to the guys, do some double stick, do some other things, help other people with some other seam, some hands on. And I put my seam tape right next to the seam, and I burnt the tape. I was using the dude, I always forget. I
Cool
always want to
glide.
call it, yeah, the Cool Glide. Using the Cool Glide, and I burnt it. And I was like, and then we left, came back from lunch, and they're like, who did this piece? And I was like, I don't know. They're like, they didn't even put the tape in the right place. I'm like, ha 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 ha.
I
It was
did
Oh
an
wait,
area.
that's
I did
mine.
an
That's
area rug.
mine.
I did an area rug with Cool Glide and Milliken carpet tile, meter by meter carpet tile, and Cool Glided it all together because they wanted uh, area rug to match the
Oh,
rest of their facility carpet. It worked perfect, dude.
did it? Awesome.
Yeah, you can literally seam, and you couldn't tear that seam apart,
I hope
and you
not.
don't have to seam seal because it's carpet tile. And yeah, did a like a 14 by 30 something, and then I had a guy come out and serge it in the field, and it looked like a damn area rug. It's a bunch of carpet tile. Anyway,
They all
don't know why
stayed
I told
together.
that other than it's kind of a cool story.
Hey, but Jimmy, it looked good when I was done with the repair, brother. I didn't let it defeat me.
So Nick says, I'd love to hear your perspective on what makes a project get done successfully and what the biggest problem you've seen that leads to project issues. So
On the
you
project
want to take a
management side.
stab at that? Uh, Not installation, but more on project management.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And
So
it's
you
kind of
want to
what we
hit
talk
that
about
there,
all.
Daniel?
Yeah, it's kind of what we talk about all the time. It's that communication piece, right? And I mean, until we started bidding our own jobs, I had no idea that in every single bid package there was literature that said that you had to follow it, by manufacturer specifications or by ASTM. I had no idea any of that was actually in the literature, and I'm sure many people out there right now don't know that either, but it's actually in there. And if you don't pass this information along, it's a lot of it can dwindle all the way down to you it being your fault because you were supposed to know, right? But um communication, this reducer goes here, don't use this reducer here, this one goes over there, something as simple as that. And it's down to the color, right? This color over here, that color over there, this base over here. And it's
Yeah, that kind
when
of
things are
leads to,
dumped on you, like just here's all the stuff, go do the job, and you don't as an installer go through everything and then start asking questions. That's it too, right? Because we can give you all the information, but unless you're looking at everything and actually going like, okay, well, why is this like that? Then you don't really know.
yeah, the very first part of his question is perspective on what makes projects get done successfully. And I think that communication is the number one
Yeah.
thing, but that is only valuable if you have planned. So planning, so you have some stuff to communicate, the
Yeah.
proper stuff to communicate, proper planning of the jobs, and being able to lay that out and get that information into your installer's hands. That is number one path to success. PM needs to know the project, all the materials, what's going into it, and how it should look, and they have to have a working knowledge, at least a working knowledge of the installation process, and then be able to pass that on. And I also think that sharing with your installers the installation instructions, even if they know how to install that particular flooring, with TradeTap, we are able to add that all that information as well as documents showing different transitions. Go here, here, and here.
Hmm.
This color means it's carpet. This is the carpet. This color means it's LVT. This is the LVT. It runs this direction. It's a random install. All of that information, if you can get your plan together for your project, and then as a PM, get that information over to your installer, and then encourage open dialogue between the two of you. Don't have Make sure that it's comfortable for them to contact the PM so that if they have a problem, they contact you. So I believe it's planning with that communication Daniel was talking about.
And
And
so,
either one of them could be done without the other, and it's not very good. But them two done together really, really is the magic sauce.
so what you just explained, and the first time I ever came across that is when I started sitting down in meetings with the companies we were doing work for. I was in the kickoff meeting. I was showing up and sitting down with the general contractors and having those discussions, even if I wasn't part of the discussion at that moment or part of that plan. Um, Being invited to sit at the table for these progress meetings was very valuable, right? Like now I understood how much planning went into a single project, even if my portion was a very small part. All that planning that went into it, like from groundbreaking, if it was brand new, or a remodel and renovation, and hearing all the moving parts and pieces, having the discussion so that way they understood this is when I need to be in here, but I need to be out of your way so you can do this, right? And putting those pieces together and or refining the schedule so that way it complemented everyone's progression. And that's where what we can learn from the other trades, even if it's just our part. And that was a long time ago, a very long time ago, but it was the first realization that we don't sit down and we don't talk like that. We don't have those discussions on what's coming up. The schedule is the schedule, and I'm receiving my paper for some projects today, and I'm starting today. I wasn't part of any of that conversation prior to, and I don't know the condition of the project or the job site.
Yeah,
Um,
that's really getting into where some GCs fail, that and to include and to
yeah,
consider your scope of work as part of the construction process. I do want to bring up that Rollin, his comment is kind of maybe the jet fuel to the two things that Daniel and I talked about, and that's respect for one another. Once you have those other two things in line, if you respect your installer and the installer respects his PM, so when communication is given, they both respect that communication. Um, that's maybe the jet fuel that really makes a project go off. So thanks for that comment, Roland. I think that's
Right.
valuable.
And kind of piggybacking off of what he was saying about going to the meetings and stuff. And I've been in, numerous meetings where the project manager will be in there, and then they'll bring in, the lead installer or a couple guys that are running the project. And, every time they ask that trade a question, the PM always just goes like this and looks at those guys to answer. And in the flooring, because this was something that we were helping on, labor only, like with us, the project manager would start talking, right? And then he'd be promising the world. And then they'd look at me and they'd be like, Daniel, what do you think about that? And I'm like, ain't gonna happen. Like,
Yep.
like, you
You
want the
know,
truth? That is not gonna happen.
it is kind of funny how when you sit in job meetings, and I've sat in hundreds and hundreds of them,
Yeah.
um, how you may have a PM with another firm, say fireproofing and caulking or you know, whatever. Uh, and when a technical question is asked, his ass doesn't say nothing. He looks over to his foreman, and his
Yep.
foreman answers. And then when it's more like a schedule or when are materials or when's my change order going to get here, you know, or an ASI reviewed or something, then the PM, it's like the PMs know their lanes better in those cases. But part of that is this subcontracting world. Who's the foreman on the job, right? A lot of places just send their sub, and their sub goes, and it's a lead guy that kind of acts like he's a foreman. Or like what we like to do, we can't do it every time, but what we prefer to do is have at least one hourly crew, even if it's just two guys doing work, and the head mechanic there is our foreman on the job, a working foreman, and then he, distills the information down to the subs. That's how we like to do it. It just isn't possible on every
Yeah.
project, but yeah, it's and I agree, Nick. It is. I don't think hardly anybody that hasn't had to put a project plan together realizes how much planning and documentation goes into getting a job done in flooring, because you're fighting for space, conditions, sequencing, all
Well,
this.
not only that, just the submittals themselves, right? It's like
Yeah.
I was working with an architect where they wanted to know every single thing. Like if it was coming out of the van, they wanted to know everything about it. And then I had a tile guy on this job, and he's like, "Hey, I'm probably gonna run out of thin set." Granted, he was gonna run out of thin set because I seen buckets and buckets wasted, right? Because that's just a tile guy thing to do because I've seen it not just
Well,
on our projects,
tile
but
guys don't do that, but
but I was he was like, I have some of this in my truck, can I just use this? And I'm like, no, I got to get you a bag of this stuff, because if they come in and something goes wrong and they test this little bit and they're like, yeah, this isn't our stuff, then that's my fault.
Yep. You just bought it.
yep. And a lot of times that's, it's literally in the specification. You got to do that. You got to use that product. A lot of your car dealerships, and I have a few other jobs here recently, even that, we don't use custom hardly ever, but their Megalite mortar is awesome, and it gets specified pretty often in car dealerships and such. And we do a fair amount of car dealerships, and that's just one instance. I wouldn't let a piece of base get put on unless it's with that product. So there is a lot of planning and moving, and that's why it's so important to plan. The more planning is needed, the more, obviously, more important the planning process actually is. So I wanted to harken back real quick to something Jose said here. He says, in a perfect world, flooring would receive the same level of respect and importance as other trades like HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. I brought this up to a GC once, and they were like, well, all those guys have to get done for you guys to be able to do your job. So insu facto, or however
Mm,
you say it,
mm, mm, mm.
you are very important. The only reason we're doing this in such a fast manner and really pressuring those guys is to give you the site conditions you require. I'm like, all right, well, we'll see if you give us the space required to get our job
Right.
done.
Oh, I
That's
got
the
something to
next step.
combat that. Yeah.
But I think he's talking more like when we walk on the job, we don't have the level of respect that these other trades do.
Well,
I think at the end of the day, that is coming. Um, Look, I try not to just self promote the VTI all the time, but if you have a badge of VTI badge and you share that and it comes across as a master installer, you're going to get the respect. The problem is, as I see it, or at least one of the problems, is that they don't know if you're really awesome or you're going to be like that other guy on their last job that screwed up the whole area and they had to redo it. I mean, it's just when our quality across the industry takes a step up and we get really consistent as an industry, I think that respect will come along.
right, because like Hoser was saying earlier too, it's that progression that they have, and you can be an electrician or an HVAC and be, an apprentice, a journeyman, a master, and no one argues with that because you've had to go to schooling for all of those levels to get up to there. So they know that you've had to pass some stuff. With flooring, it's just like, yes, I do flooring.
I got a pouch. I got knee pads. I do floors.
Yeah, and that's
So,
the great fight of the good installers is that you're out there competing against guys who don't know, and no
mhm,
one else knows the difference between the two of you, which is again why the VTI was ever created in the first place, was to give clear separation there.
Right.
Nick
so
asked a question here. Take that one, Daniel, would you?
Yeah, if we sub out installation or keep it in-house, and everyone here does a mixture of each of them because I think, like, again, going back to the previous conversation, there's just so much in flooring to know that you can't be a master of everything.
right, and even you know how to install the majority of the products you're working with, there's somebody out there who does it every day who's going to be more efficient, proficient than you are. If we shift gears and we start installing all of our hard tile and doing all 100% of our residential, we're not going to be as quick as someone who that's their primary source of income. They do that every day. They're going to know every trick. They're going to know all. They're going to know how to stage everything and fight through that progression a lot quicker than we are.
Well, they touch the
Uh,
product all the time. They have the
yeah.
tools, and I mean, one of the reasons I never tried tile is or did tile was the few times I did it in our company's early years, I freaking had to go buy a freaking breaker board, and I didn't have the stuff to even do it. Like, so to answer your question, probably super direct, Nick, as an industry, I don't know if you're in the industry or not, but as an industry, about 87% of every bit of flooring that you've walked across in the last 30 years has been done by a subcontractor.
Hmm.
Now, they're like us, my flooring company in Wichita, as well as I know Preferred up in Grand Rapids, we both have a mix of in-house W-2 employee installers and subcontractors. I think they run probably more of a hourly, employee installer
Yeah.
house, and then supplement where they need. We have about 8 or so in-house guys. We'd like that to be 12. Um, but and then we sub everything else out. So probably about that percentage, 85% of our work is probably subbed out.
And I want to touch base on that.
That's read Mike's comment before you go
Oh,
anywhere. Tell me that's not true.
yeah, oh, dude. You
That
know,
makes me chuckle.
but that holds a lot of weight too. What he just said, because that is goes back to
You were
what we were
supposed to read
just.
it for the people that can't read it.
Oh, my bad, my bad. It says, I love the first day on the site. All the other trades find out how far they are behind. And yes, yes, because we don't plan properly for the most part. We just kind of get that work order and then show up to the job site. We're here to do your floors. We're on the calendar. We're on the schedule. Everybody forgot because they're behind, right? Something was on back order and it pushed everything back.
Well, I've
So,
literally had GCs tell me, "Well, we just need you to show up because
It's
it
gonna
puts
push
all the
everyone.
other subs on notice. It pushes
yeah.
everybody."
Um, yes, that happens a lot. Like, but can you start in that corner over there where it doesn't make any sense for you to start, but they'll know you're here? And
Yeah.
yeah, they use us to be the bad guy, not understanding we need everyone to be on our side so we can get that real estate that we need to get some progress done. Um, but yeah, making friends is what it's all about. And it might, uh, but what I was going to do is go back to about the viewed as the other trades, the HVAC, the plumbing. And I wrote a couple things down too. It's in order to be viewed that way, we have to carry ourselves that way too, right? It's not all about just respect me because I'm demanding respect. I'm a tradesman. They invest in their appearance. They invest into they have poise. Um, they they exude professionalism, right? They have to carry themselves at a certain level of professionalism depending on what title they carry. And we as flooring installers have to understand, especially in the commercial world, we are the last defense for all the other trades too. And we have to make sure they know that. If we don't do a good job and they start picking our work apart, they're going to start picking everybody else's work apart, from the finished products through. Oh, look at that base. That looks like crap. Well, yeah, but look at right here. The paint looks like crap. Oh, well, look at this. Why is that? That's not in the right spot. Why is
I
that
don't know.
sconce
I
there?
kind of like when I walk into a job and there's blue tape all over the walls. I'm like, they're really paying attention to that paint. They ain't looking at my
Man.
stuff too close.
Yeah, yin and yang, right? Like that's we did a bang up job. There's no blue tape. Um, I hate it when you go to a project and it looks like someone's trying to repair everything with the blue tape, and you start looking at things like take your finger and smudge it off the floor, like, well, that's a footprint, brother. Like that's a footprint. Got to clean.
Yeah.
Or it's always on a
I,
punch list, but they came and drilled 24 holes through your hard tile in the wrong spot, but it's a punch list.
yeah, the punch list thing drives me nuts. I just got pictures before the podcast today on a job site that said, well, you got thin set and glue all over the storefronts. That's on the punch list. And I'm like, doesn't sound like us, but come to find out it was a vestibule where they tore out the recessed floor and then we poured back self leveler and put carpet in, but it doesn't meet to the where the old recess went to. And we couldn't. You got a door, a an actual door we have to go to, and we didn't. And it's not got anything to do, Mr. PM, with our product, but it got on our punch list. Anyway, back on to the good stuff here. I wanted to point something out. Um, Roland kind of mentioned, and you touched on it, Jose, that you get the respect on an individual level. Roland, I agree with you. Respect is kind of commanded in a lot of ways. You walk on expecting things, not with an arrogant
Mm-hmm.
expectation, but a teachable expectation. Like, well, this stuff has to move. Get all this out of here. We're running the floor this way, so I can't have you. I got to get everything out of here that way. And, doing your moisture tests and carrying yourself like a professional, like Jose said, and you will get that individual respect. I think what Nick, if I remember right, was the one that asked about that. It could have been another commenter, but if you're talking about industry respect, though, that's where not just you walking on as an individual, because you're right, we find ways to work with other trades. Jose and Daniel have talked about it before, about getting the guy to move your stuff in on the lull, give him a six pack of beer, whatever. I mean, you work with other trades pretty well, but on the overall schedule side of things, the respect is, I think, from an industry, like them respecting our industry, is like when they try to force you into getting into doing that little corner of a 50,000-foot building and starting over there because that's the only space they have. And they are demanding that you're there, and they're demanding and putting in writing that they're ready. And that's this legal posturing that general contractors do a lot, is all legal posturing and risk management stuff. And that's the hardest part to overcome, really, is that thing. If you've ever, if you do the big commercial jobs, you have ran across this where you get on the job site and they're like, well, none of this is ready, but you can do like the 3 break rooms of LVP. And I'm like, dude, your job's 3 hours away from our home office, and you want me to come out and do 600 foot of LVP? We'll be done in half a day. What are we going to do after that?
Right.
Well, you'll have to come back. So it's not respecting that we have a process we have to follow, not respecting that we have parameters. I think it's because so much flooring GCs have witnessed so much flooring get put down because the guy didn't care. He didn't care about the site conditions. He didn't care. He just, that's where he was supposed to start.
It's not on his work order.
That's right. I mean, he just does it, right? Well, then they come across somebody like me that's like, well, your humidity's high, and your building's not enclosed. This product specifically states in its manufacturer's specs and installation instructions that the entire building envelope has to be closed in, and your HVAC has to be up and running, not temp HVAC. Controlled conditions means you can actually control the conditions. And so they get these different personalities, and I act like it's the end of the world if you don't do it the right way. And this other guy just did it, and it seemed like everything worked out. The job went fine, kind of thing. It doesn't always go fine, first off, and secondly is there's a right way to do it, and we should do it the right way. So if you're one of them installers that have went out there and done that, don't do that again.
Yeah, don't do that. That. Go ahead, Daniel. You just pop that up.
Oh, Nick just says coordinating with the builder or PM on site readiness is the first step, but also just as important, if not more, is making sure the installers have everything they need to minimize questions and fires to be put out that may delay flooring or tile work.
Great statement.
Yep. Yeah. So that reminds me too, and kind of what you said, kind of tying that together is early on in a couple of relationships, people didn't know if they wanted to work with us, right? Because they're like, dude, you're asking for so much. I'm like, no, I'm not. It went from you're asking for so much out of this project before you set foot on it to I like working with you because you're so detail oriented, right? So it went from them having this like nobody else asked for this, nobody else asked me these questions or expects this to be at this stage before they step on the site to we have Jose and Daniel, we have preferred flooring doing the install. We need to make sure that we're at this point before they show up.
Yeah.
Because they will keep.
A lot of it was due to, us being crybabies, but then also showing up and being like you said, you want me to do a half a day's of work? Like, this is wasting my time. You could have just waited another couple weeks and then gave me this whole area.
Well,
Yeah,
and this ties right into Jose's comment here is like if you don't talk about who cleans up the drywall mud, we don't just do it. When they say, well, you got to sand the floor, I'm like, yeah, we got to sand the floor, not through a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch drywall mud to get to the floor.
Or you have to sweep anyways, just sweep up their mess.
Yeah, well, if you don't want me to get patch, self leveler, glue, all other kinds of stuff on your wall before it's painted, or in your drywall joints before you, you know, fill them, well, then you should not.
It's the same
It's
thing.
common sense, but they just are so used to doing it. I would say, Jose, if you are just make sure you push back. We actually try to write in that the rooms are free of all debris and brooms swept before we take them over. We don't always get that, but we try to get that in our contract. I have a 4 o'clock, which is why I jumped
Yeah.
in. I've got to jump off here and let you guys finish this thing
Uh,
up. Great conversation, everybody. Paul, did you create your own SOPs, or is there something you follow? Hire someone to do it. I The School of Hard Knocks did, and I'm willing to share them if you want to email me all of our SOPs and processes, procedures on many different things. Um, the School of Hard Knocks built it for us. We had to do it at one point for different things. As we grew, we realized that we can't have tribal knowledge that is just up here in our head, in an individual's head. We have to have it in writing as a process or as a standard operating procedure,
Mhm.
so that those things happen all the time, regardless of whether I'm the PM or someone else. So with that, everybody, I love you guys. Thanks for all the comments.
Get
It's
out of
just
here, brother.
awesome today. You guys have a great rest of the podcast. Appreciate y'all.
Take it easy, bro.
Bye.
So, yeah, Paul shared his SOPs with us a few years ago as well, and that was also when we came to the realization that we were missing things. And I think Daniel learned and said to me, like, through the mastermind class that you did with Kyle, right? Like, we got to where we're at on accident because we didn't have the proper planning in the beginning. We didn't have the foresight to write down processes and procedures or SOPs, so that way we could duplicate what we were doing. And that's the importance of that as well. You guys being able to duplicate it, and that's where we fall short and why we look scattered as an industry on job sites sometimes. Because even for the basic stuff like showing up to a job site, what do we do when we show up to a job site? What is the first, second, third things we do, right? Like we
well,
didn't have that. Um, and lack of communication from the top down was part of it.
yeah, and that's something that we don't get either is before the drywall goes up, they have to get it inspected, right? And then you move on to the next thing.
Yeah,
Plumbing, the concrete doesn't get poured unless that plumbing is already inspected. You can't move on to the next thing. With us, it's like you were saying earlier, it's using us to push everyone else.
yeah,
And I think like other trades just don't realize how hard it is, because I was on a meeting with one of the construction companies the other day, and they had one of their procurement people on there, and he was like, you know, to save money, you can just only buy from one supplier, like cut everyone else out and just do one supplier. And then they looked at my name and they were like, oh, but flooring is kind of hard. And I was like, yeah, I can't just go in and be like, hey guys, we're not going to use what you want to use. We're just going to use whatever I say we're going to use. I said, that don't fly.
no, and that's them not understanding either, right? So
And that's the thing, right? When we had Jordan on, an electrician, and we talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I use this company or this company to get all my wire and conduit and stuff from, and that's it. So that puts him in a better spot to make a better margin because he buys so much from one. And it just, with flooring, it's like you don't, at some point you don't have a choice, especially in the commercial world, when architects and designers are picking everything, and then you can try and value engineer it, but it's not always that easy.
no, it's not. And when the material is already predetermined for you, and you try to value engineer and go outside of those specs, if they allow it, you're not making friends with the rep who worked very hard to get their product in to the designer or the architect to get them spec, right? You're not making friends with them. So the next time you try to call them and lean on them to get pricing, you know, It's a dog eat dog world. Like I said earlier, it's not going to be so favorable, and it's hard to stay consistent with one manufacturer and keep everything in line through the same distributors or providers. It's 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 not always fun to track everything down and create a system that is going to be protected by a warranty or within ASTM or manufacturer standards when you got to pull from so many different resources to get to one finish line.
Right. So Nick asks, we've been doing flooring for a long time. He's curious to hear the best tools and systems that have come along and how we've changed how we operate the store. And I
Well,
think
that sounds like
this is
another
a whole
podcast.
podcast episode right here.
Yeah, brother. Um,
Um,
yeah, that's the evolution, like our evolution has been, let's just say
uh,
we started with Ryobi, we have Milwaukee now, right? Like
and
we're
that's
gonna
the thing,
evolve.
right? Everything, like, since we're all with the different verticals that we have in the industry, it's hard just to say one thing, right? I can say with sheet vinyl, it was one thing, and then with carpet, it was another. And then even on the carpet side, it's the lift systems and stuff like that. So it's not just an easy answer type thing, but we can definitely talk about it in a later podcast. Um,
Yeah,
as far as
so
the way we've changed with operating the stores, just in general, is, I mean, we went from, you know, um, trying to word this correctly, even though it's not correct, but a 1099 employee, right? Which there is no thing, to actually having W-2 employees with benefits. And I think that is one of the biggest changes that we've done in the past. I mean, and that was over 10 years ago.
there it was. It's the progression, right? Like when we started as DBA and then evolved to LLC and right and then switching from 1099 to actual classifying employees. We learned that from other companies, other trades, other flooring companies who how would we want to be taken care of and treated? So
And we also seen that progression too, like the thing that we want to bring to the industry from those other trades. It's you start here and then you go here, and without setting it up a certain way, it'll never happen like that. But that is, I think, one of the biggest things that we need to start taking into consideration in our trade is what you started with, and that is, okay, where are we gonna where are we gonna start with someone, and what is the progression throughout their career in order to go from and I'm just saying that these words, I'm not saying that this is what they're named, but from an apprentice to a master.
right, got to get some a starting point and some experience and learn, absorb, and implement. But we're getting to the end of the podcast, everyone. I think we're at a good spot to kind of shut this one down. Um, but yeah, this is a good talk, and thanks for all the comments. Really appreciate it. And if you guys haven't already, well, first off, go ahead and scan that if you have a second. Get that on the radar if you're not already there for TradeTap. But if you haven't already, like, dislike, and share. Daniel knows all the platforms that we're on. Oh,
Apple Podcast, Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
all the things. Makes it easy to find a conversation piece. But that's all I got for now, Dan. You have anything else?
No, it's just thanks for everyone for listening, and let us know, Nick, we definitely appreciate your comments today, and we're gonna put that down for a future podcast. And if you ever want to come on and talk, definitely reach out to us, so that way
Yeah, for sure.
we can get you on here. I mean, sounds like you got a lot to talk about, so might as well get you on here.
Hey, and we're not above learning, man. Like we love to learn, and we don't know everything. We just talk about the issues that have come up or that we see coming up or that we've
Right.
experienced. So
Yeah. Jose, we're on Spotify too.
anytime that we get someone on the podcast where we can, have some banter and some back and forth and learn, we love those opportunities, guys.